Good morning, everybody. Morning, morning, morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Oh, Boris Johnson's just said, hot off the Telegraph front page, I'll be back.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
God help us.
Yeah.
Anyway, good morning. How are you this morning? I just said to Mark, I think we've slipped into a bit of thing. Now, listen. Last week's How to Stay Married, we talked about the fact that we were going to see a
Lots of
couples
people
counsellor.
saying we're on the edge.
And people are saying that
They're
we're
loving
on the
it.
edge.
They're loving it. People love it. What I've noticed, there's far more engagement and excitement when they think we're about to split up than when they think we get on.
Just want to clear that up. By taking note of your relationship, that's actually a good thing. There's no way we're ever going to split up. But sometimes it's really important to just recalibrate yourself. And I just said to him, Mark, because we do have such a laugh together and everything, but we are very, very. We've gone a bit.
Mildred and Piers.
No, Mildred and what's
George and Mildred.
We've gone a bit George and
Do you remember
Mildred.
George and Mildred?
Love George and Mildred.
They used to smoke in it.
Yeah.
They did.
She smoked all the time.
I loved him.
I
He
loved
was
her.
so put upon. But I mean, if you look
But
back
he
now,
loved
imagine
it.
how sexist it all was.
But he loved being put upon, didn't he?
She was quite something, wasn't she? Incredible looking woman.
Oh my God, magnificent.
Yeah,
She's what you called a magnificent woman.
But can I just say, it was really funny because we have, well, they're not called arbitrators, moderators who kind of go through comments and deal with stuff for us. And one thing that did pop up on my app, which was really funny, someone popped something going, and they said, yeah, I've seen it for a while. I've noticed it creeping in. I think they're going to, anyway, and then I clicked on it to have a look at it. And they deleted it. They'd obviously not had the courage of their convictions.
Oh, well, that's nice.
It's sweet. They obviously thought, well,
Maybe they
they're
overread
making
it again,
maybe.
read over it and went, oh, that sounds
exactly.
good.
I think it's nice when people reread their messages and then delete them forthwith.
But anyway, if you hear us going a bit George and Mildred, please do note it.
Yeah.
Right, now...
Happy birthday.
Are you okay?
I know.
That was so weird.
No, it just came from nowhere.
Right.
And if you're listening on podcast, welcome. We hope you're driving sensibly and enjoying the sunshine.
Oh, Lee, you two won't split up.
And
Never,
observing
no
mirror.
way.
Oh, Lee, mate. Lee, you West Ham nut.
Guys,
Did you see Lee Durrant on his Instagram? When West Ham won, mate, you should turn it into a meme if you've got it. Were you live? I was mesmerised by you in the street cheering. Oh. Wow, because I remember that excitement on the one occasion Tottenham won something way back in the
Guys,
whatever.
I just want to do a quick flash of my dress.
No.
Look at this, right?
Why had she forgotten something?
So cool, so light. Guess where I got it?
Esso.
Guess where I got this?
Esso
Guess where I
petrol
got this
station.
dress? I have had dresses very similar to this given to me to wear on telly.
So have I.
That will have been 100, 150 quid. Tesco's. It's so light. It's the coolest thing you could possibly wear. It's the perfect length for a woman of my age. And isn't it a lovely colour? Do you like it, Mark?
Yeah, I do. Really like the colour. Really like the colour. I really love what's underneath it as well.
I think it was about a tenner. Tesco's.
I saw a story pop up online, as I was researching and looking for stories, and it said something about Tesco must-have dress. It's not that, is it?
Oh, maybe it's this.
Loud.
I've accidentally bought a must-have.
If you're listening on, maybe you've created a must-have.
Oh, no, I haven't, because this is the first time I've put it on.
Oh, right. If you're listening on podcast, we both got up. I went over there and went to a drawer. Nadia was standing up, aerating herself, and showing us her dress. Abby. It's Abby's birthday. I knew it was someone's birthday.
Yeah, well, I got a Tesco bra last week. I showed it on here.
Yeah,
so
and then
Tesco's undies.
And then when I said something about your knickers, you went nuts.
Because then you bring the weirdos in.
Oh, babe, the weirdos are sitting right alongside you.
It was like the other week when I had a massage booked and I said to my sister, what sort of a massage is it? I said, do I have to take my things off? Yeah, she goes, just borrow it. Because I went, I can't do it. She went, what? I said, I'm just too shy. She went, are you effing kidding? Have you seen your Instagram? She goes, you're so weird. I said, yeah, but I do it in my house. I don't really imagine anyone actually looks at it.
Babe.
And Mark went, no, people.
I don't know how to break the news to you. I literally don't.
Right, we'll
hang on.
Okay.
Can anyone... No, hang on.
I think Toffee's got hay fever.
I think Toffee's on my yoga mat. Anyway, the colour green is beautiful on you,
Thank
says
you.
Amy. How to pronounce your name? Sorry,
Thank you.
L-A-M. Oh, I can't say it.
on
I
with it,
literally
Mark.
can't
Imagine
say
if
it.
you listen to this
No,
on
I
a
know. I'm
podcast.
literally trying to pronounce your name correctly, and I'm so
Bloody
sorry.
hell.
Can you write it phonetically, and I'll mention it. Anyway, yes. So happy birthday, Abby. We'll sing you happy birthday at the end. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're all well. It's very hot.
We had such a funny night last night. Our eldest daughter she's one of the funniest people I know. She really, really is. And every so often she'll go to this place where she's doing impressions of us. We don't get it all the time. It's very rare. But God, she made us laugh yesterday, taking the piss out of us, didn't she?
No, she was so
Oh my
fun.
God.
So
Is there anything better than when your kids really make you laugh? People forget to tell you that when you're having kids.
MT2. Are you trying to get a contract for Tesco ad?
No, I'm really not. I'm really not.
Smarty pants.
I'm really not.
And
It's just
it's very
genuine.
funny if you do, though, isn't it? And then you'd have to say to MT, you were right.
It's just genuinely, I never really go into Tesco's, but because I was in Elstree, I went in.
She literally doesn't go into Tesco's at all. Yeah. There is a major incident in Nottingham. Is this what you're referring to, Faith Goodman? I mean, a major incident, like all roads cut off, lots of roads. Is there a knifeman or something? Edward Bevington, you're saying?
God.
Faith Goodman just giving a shout out to emergency crews, etc.
Oh, no.
But it's quite hard to. Is it? Yeah, friends of mine. Hang on,
look on
look.
the
Kimberly
phone.
Jones, re Nottingham. Friends of mine say there's local online groups are reporting men on electric scooters riding around, stabbing people in city centre.
What?
And 2 people run over by a van. Oh my God.
Please, God, no. Well, you
What?
know.
No.
Oh, incident closes city centre. I've got it. Serious incident. Last week's cordon.
This is awful. This is awful. Let me pull up ITV
Public
News.
has been told to avoid the area and plan alternate routes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I saw it. I saw it break, but I saw that they weren't putting any sort of meat on the bone. So it's major disruption in Nottingham due to ongoing serious incident, heavy police presence,
Suspended all services.
Yeah, police, paramedics, and firefighters at the scene. Specialist rescue units urging members of the public to avoid many areas in the city centre.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the suggestion that it could be a series of knife attacks. Lots and lots of roads closed. Wow, that's always frightening when something like that happens. I remember being in London when, I can't remember, one of the many terrorist incidents happened at
It was
London
the
Bridge.
London Bridge one, wasn't it?
It's weird. I saw, like there's that calm where birds go quiet before like an earthquake or something like that. It was like that. Something sort of, you just get an electricity in the air, don't you? So
I was there, wasn't I? The day after, or a couple of days after. It was very, very soon after the London Bridge because I had to take Kiki somewhere right over London Bridge. And my God, it was just the eeriest feeling.
I still get it. I was in London Bridge the other day. When you're sort of near Borough Market, you think it's how a scene of relative normality and safety can just erupt and change so suddenly. So, for everyone in Nottingham, that's just awful.
And you remember all those incredible, people just going straight back, didn't they? People went straight back the next day. So obviously we will hear more about this, but
Okay.
For now,
So, just broke, man arrested, 3 found dead, Judith Huey.
3 dead after van attack.
Wow, yeah, look, there it is, Nottingham latest, 3 dead after van attack.
He took a large knife from his rucksack, they're just saying.
Presumably, will it be some kind of, we could only assume with the nature of it, will it be some sort of radicalized kind of terrorist thing or what? We won't know. We'll have to, it's just so weird. Anyway, let's push on with these stories and there'll probably be a further update further down the line. So where's that? Can you hear the audio? Oh, it's there. Sorry, I could just hear audio. I didn't want it to annoy you guys. Okay, calls for abortion law reform after a mother has been jailed. And she's been jailed courtesy of a law brought in 1861. She took is it an abortion pill?
So in lockdown, she has 3 children, one of them with special needs. And in lockdown, as we all know, services to everything were dire. And she took the abortion pill that you could, you can, and still can, I think, have delivered by post. And now we haven't got the exact amount.
32 to 34 weeks pregnant.
And the limit for this procedure is, I think, 24 weeks.
Well, no, I think abortion is legal up to 24 weeks, but
yeah.
the procedure must be carried out in a clinic after 10 weeks.
Yes, for the sake of you as well, the mother as well. I'm so upset in so many different ways about this story. First of all, it was only about a year ago that I discovered, when we were talking about something else on here, that abortion is effectively still illegal in England, apart from extenuating circumstances.
Well, yeah, we discovered that, didn't we? Yeah.
Hence why, I've had 2 abortions, and, both times, you have to go through this, 2 doctors to say that basically you are unstable with, which, I was young both times, and you think, you did have to sort of, I can't remember exactly what I had to say, but you did feel that you had to perform something to be able to get it.
Right.
And I think that that's very wrong. And I cannot believe we're behind Northern Ireland. And in fact, most other countries in the world where it is still illegal to have an abortion. Just think about that. It is illegal.
Yeah,
we're
but
up
it's
in arms.
this curious kind of by thing. I can't remember what I found, wasn't it? The idea that you get it
has to be for your either serious, the child would be seriously something, or you would be, or that it's your mental health. So that's when I had my one. I had to say that it was my mental health. I had to say in a certain way, I can't remember what it was, why I wanted this abortion. And let's just, park for a moment the fact that I had gone and tried to get a morning after pill and was told by the GP that it was highly unlikely that I was pregnant where I was in my cycle. I now realise, I've told some of you guys this before, that she was probably anti-abortion. So she led me away from having a morning after pill, and lo and behold, I got pregnant and I had to have an abortion.
Yeah.
So,
Leader, just to clarify, abortion is illegal here. The idea is there isn't a law that just allows you to just go and have an abortion.
You have to prove to
You have to go to
doctors.
some level of proof, exactly. Yeah. So it's a strictly, obviously, it's common parlance that you can go and get an abortion, and every woman will be able to get an abortion within the legal time frame. But it was just a curious kind of administrative detail, legal administrative detail, which is quite important, which a number of Labour MPs are wanting to change, which is that actually there's a caveat. It's only allowed upon permission of a X, Y, and Z.
Thank you, good ship lollipop. Your reason has to be approved.
That's it.
Right? Has to be approved by a stranger.
Yeah.
Right? What if you are in a coercive, controlling relationship? What if you've been, what if it is just not the right time for you to have a baby? We always go to the worst case scenarios, don't you? What if you've been raped? What if you've been this way? It's your body, and you should have complete autonomy over your own body. And I would think that we're at the stage, the stage now, 2023, where that is just accepted. And, I was listening to, I can't remember who the Labour woman was today on the radio, and she said, no government ever wants to touch abortion law. They just don't want to. They just swerve it. And this poor woman's situation, hopefully the good that can come out of it is that it's a catalyst to decriminalise something that is a health procedure for women's health.
Can I just pause just for a second? I just want to, because we were having a conversation about this before, and obviously I was, as a child, on pro-choice marches. My mum was incredibly active in the instrumental in changing the laws and helping to moderate the laws. I think she threw paint at politicians in the House of Commons and all that kind of stuff. This was a really important thing for my mum, for women of her generation, and all future generations thereafter. And yet, even with this story, and I think there are 2 elements to this story, there's the aspect of the law in question that was used from 1861, and the fact that she was sent to jail on what purpose.
In 1969, wasn't it?
Right, yeah. And what purpose that serves, versus also quite. Someone just mentioned it, and I think you might have removed the comment, and I'm not going to name you because you might want to be attached to that comment, but it's something that I felt. 34 weeks is incredibly late, and I think. What makes this, I'm incredibly, I would think, very liberal about these things. And I think, but I think it made me think for the first time, actually, when I read this story, of there having to be a point at which one has to say, no, what's the dividing line between the baby that we're going to see as soon as it's out the womb and the baby that happens to be behind, inside the body?
Exactly.
34 weeks, it's incredibly close.
Right, so here's the thing, and that Martha Kanye was just brilliant on Radio 4 this morning, and she was, she's just, oh God, I've got such a crush on that woman. I want to be more like Martha Kanye.
She loves beats
in your
as well.
dreams, Nadia. But she said, the Labour, whoever it was that was there speaking on behalf of Labour, she said to her, she kept saying to her, but then what kind of situation will we have if it's not? She said, no, we mustn't get confused here. All the legislation, all the normal framework within any kind of medical procedure should be there, but it mustn't be criminalised, because also the health providers could be in a criminal situation. Now, if they've done anything slightly over or under, they can also be charged.
Right.
If you go,
not in this case, because she didn't have any health providers.
No, but and she wasn't. Well, she did, because she asked for the pills, but she said that she was at a different date.
Right.
So, an ex-Crown prosecutor was talking, and he said, if I was in the job, I wouldn't have brought this case forward, because when we look at whether to bring a case forward, we take into consideration the law, the public interest, and the personal interest. He said, and so Martha Kanye said in her beautiful way, and what would be the public interest for this woman's own body? And he said, well, exactly. He said, the public interest, I don't think it is in the public interest, and I wouldn't have brought this case forward. There was obviously desperation in this woman. The judge themselves said that she was racked with guilt, and that he had no choice but to give her a custodial sentence because she had broken the law.
Because of the framework of the law.
So to go through what she must have gone through will have been horrific.
Well, Norma Jobber here says, I'm not anti-abortion, but it is the lateness of a decision I can't get my head around. She must have been desperate. I think that's an aspect that people forget. If there's a desperation already in there to go to these lengths, why then add to that desperation by sending to prison?
Exactly. What woman, okay, you're going to get psychopaths out there or sociopaths, but there isn't a woman that has an abortion that is not, troubled by that. They don't do it willy-nilly. This was a woman, this is the pandemic, remember? We don't know what her situation might have been with a partner, or whether she had one or whatever.
Does she have other children? You said she had other children as well, didn't you?
3, one with special needs, and then you're pregnant and you're in the pandemic, and God knows, maybe she couldn't feed the 3 children she had. We just don't know. So I think it's a terribly sad day that this woman has got now. 28 months. What happens to those
so
other
she's got 28
children?
months, 14 months of which are custodial. But here, this is the bit that makes you realise. So, I think, and you're all talking about it, and it's clearly a difficult one, because I think it's thrown up a dilemma for you as it does for me. There is a question mark around. I think there is no definitive answer as to the rights and wrongs of whether she should, whether she shouldn't. The sense of whether this baby, I think Erin was saying, she could have induced labour and it may well have survived. That would have been another route to go. So all of these aspects to it make it incredibly troublesome and troubled. But I think the overarching question is, to whom else would she be a danger? By not going to prison. So, she might have broken a law, it might have broken a rule, there may be there's a necessary legal framework, but who does it serve? And if she's got 3 other children, it's not going to serve them that she's now in prison. On that note as well, though, you begin to realise things need to be updated when you look at what So she was charged under Section 58 of the Offences Against the Person Act, 1861. Okay, so that in and of itself, suddenly we're in Dickensian Victorian Britain. Under the Victorian-era law, women, quote, this is from the law that they used to charge her, quote, women who use drugs or instruments that are unlawfully administered are to be kept in penal servitude for life. Meaning that essentially they'd face life imprisonment. For me, the part of this that seems bizarre, beyond the troubling aspect of a fetus or a baby at 34 weeks, is the idea that anyone today is being prosecuted with a law devised in 1861 using language
Yeah.
like kept in penal servitude for life.
When it was updated in 1960.
Oh no, abortion was legalised
Yes.
with the Abortion Act in 1960. Now legalised insofar as once
Yes.
you've got permission.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this
And-
is something that a lot of the reporters don't actually say when they say that.
Yeah, and what I can't believe is that we are now behind Northern Ireland in this.
Zoe was just saying how
It's
awful she was
decriminal-
made to feel in a chemist when you got a morning after pill, Zoe. You were saying that you felt.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
Oh yeah, I'll never forget how I was made to feel getting the morning after pill.
That's awful. That's just
Judgment is next level.
Do you know what? Of course, this is just so troubling because this baby was, near to term, really. But what woman does that isn't in dire and desperate
Precisely.
need? Are we not a kinder society than that?
That's what Beryl McNally
Has
says.
she done this? Has she done this as for any other reason than desperation? And for the judge to say that she's racked with it. Her punishment, if people want her to be punished, I certainly don't.
She's already punished.
Is a life knowing this. And the really important thing about prison is it's supposed to serve society, right? But this feels like this is just brutality, because I'm thinking about those 3 children that are at home now, one with special needs. What is happening to them? What is going to happen to this woman for the 14 months she served? I think she got sentenced for 28. What's going to happen to her in prison? Is she going to come out a better mother?
What's going to happen to her
better
kids?
able to support her children, therefore supporting society? If we take out our own personal feelings about this, how does this serve society? And I'm sorry, it doesn't. What I'm not sure about is if you decriminalise it and it would do. So take this situation in Northern Ireland. What would happen?
Sorry, I was reading something there.
Sorry,
Ask
John.
that again.
So take this situation in most other countries that it's not a criminal act to have an abortion.
No, but every country has different.
But I wonder what we would put in place, because you can't have people having abortions at 34 weeks. Obviously, that can't be, so within the framework,
Right.
within this, what would happen in that situation?
And what do you mean?
Well, if we decriminalised it this week and in 2 weeks' time this happened again, what would be? People seem to want women to be punished.
Well, I think that's why it's but I think the reason it's a news story is it's incredibly unusual. It's incredibly
rare.
unusual. But I mean, I don't really understand what you're asking. But I mean, I think if there was a sudden rush to have abortions after 30 weeks.
This is the problem. People say, well, if you don't have it, if it's not criminalised, people will be having abortions over the time. But the thing is, everything still has to be approved by a clinician. So it's not going to open the floodgates of people panicking and having abortions later than they should, because you've still got to go through a process.
I think it's incredibly problematic. I think separate to the legal aspect of it and separate to the shouldn't she have gone to prison aspect or be charged, is for me, and I haven't really had this troublesome thing because I just always accept that it's the woman's body, it's a woman's right, it's da-da-da. There does come a point, it's interesting for me that I've been forced with this story to think about when is the moment a baby's a baby. And I'm not a religious person, I'm fully on the side of women having total control of their body, no one else having any involvement. It's a woman's right, pro-choice, all the way up to that. But then there comes a point, it's interesting, where is that point? Where is that dividing line? Are we to say that you have a right to abort right up until,
No, because those. Well,
then you have to have a law, and then this kicks in.
No, because you have regulation around all medical procedures, don't you? So that's what she was talking about. The Labour MP was saying that framework.
But I'm just trying. I'm going with what I'm trying to understand
know.
what you're asking in terms of what would happen. Well, then you have to have a law, and this is in a sense, you could then argue this is the unfortunate collateral damage of such a law.
No, I think that you answered it when you said it's so incredibly rare that they do. And 100% this needs to be decriminalised. For me, there is no question of that. There's actually a march this Saturday in London. If you follow web_UK on Instagram, and if you can't make the march, you can phone call. Oh, I also, right here now, really am mindful of people that don't believe that abortion is a right. Because for people that aren't, that just don't agree with it, we need to give them space as well. It's just when people attack people for having that choice.
Well, and the other problem with this as well, Lucy Ruth says, so hard to know where that line is, Mark. I think it's probably at the point where the baby would survive outside the womb. The problem with that is that moment is different for different babies. And that is where a huge part of the sort of anti-abortion, pro-life, I hate the way pro-life is called pro-life. Like anyone who has an abortion isn't pro-life. It's so loaded, isn't it, pro-life?
Exactly, Teresa Welsh.
Do you think that
Teresa
pro-life
Welsh
is
said,
so loaded?
Yeah, so loaded. Teresa Welsh, wouldn't it be ironic if these children end up in care? We don't know what her situation is.
Precisely.
Imagine that she was a desperate single mum. I mean, oh my God, it's just awful.
I just want to give a shout out. Obviously we're a big movie. We're a movie channel too. If you haven't seen it, check out a movie called Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always.
Please do.
Which is an incredible indie film, American indie film about a young woman who finds herself pregnant, and it's a very sort of unshowy-offy, very simple, very moving, and sort of authentic, gritty portrait of a young girl who wants to get an abortion, and how it's not just a simple...
And why it's so extra powerful as well is you're hinted at it's hinted at the reason why she's pregnant.
Yes.
It's not told, and it just shows how the secretiveness that so many women have.
Never, rarely, sometimes, always. The reason it's called that is one of the questions we didn't review it in the end. One of the questions they ask on a sort of questionnaire while she's kind of registering herself for this abortion is about one thing. I can't remember what it was it?
So they ask you, do you never,
I can't remember what the question was.
She has to answer question after question after
Never,
question
rarely, sometimes,
to
always.
Qualify for an abortion. And there's a little bit of similarity there with what happened to me, that I went to an anti-abortionist GP and was refused the morning after pill.
Yes.
And then I had to have an abortion.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that the way in which a lot of people who are pro-life park themselves within the abortion provision world in order to knock people off course. In a sense. So
but also some of the rabid pro-lifers who in whatever circumstance want a woman to have a baby but would not support that woman once she has that baby and once she can't support and look after that baby. It's just up until that point and then all hands are off. It's just...
Okay, wow, that was spent a long time on that, didn't we, guys? Thanks for all of your comments on that. This Kanye West. Let's jump to Kanye West. The cult of celebrity religion. What really goes on during Kanye West's ultra-secretive $50 million a year Sunday services, and how his inner elite circle help him lure in a band of loyal followers. This is a piece in the Mail. Wow,
look at the wording there, because they have to be so careful. They aren't usually the Mail, but they're worrying about getting sued. But the cult of celebrity. So,
now, is it a cult? From everything you've said, Nadia, this is all I know of this, and then you can fill me in on what actually goes on. I've seen on that sort of, whatever that sort of wonderful walk or run is, up into the hills of the Hollywood Hills, where everyone goes on their trails, don't they, and all that. I've seen them on top of a mound, lots of people in sort of monk outfits, dancing and singing like lunatics.
Well, how it first started, and it's, as you know, guys, I'm a bit fascinated by cults at the moment. I'm listening. Anyone got any good podcasts on cults? Please tell me.
And just a quick caveat just on this. We are going to be talking about bipolar mental health. And for anyone who doesn't know and is maybe listening, I have been diagnosed with bipolar type 2. So when I talk in any way that maybe seem a little bit, brisk and cavalier around bipolar.
It's his way of dealing with having bipolar. But so anyway... So when his church first started, he was still with Kim, and it was a really beautiful thing. It was, this singing, people would all walk on a Sunday service. Our kids were like, oh God, I'd do anything to go to Sunday service. Oh, well, you never know, maybe we could just turn up one day at Sunday. So it was a real calling. It looked like such a lovely thing to do on a Sunday. It wasn't necessarily religious. Oh my God, the echoes of cult. And how that can begin. So as time has gone on, I'm a huge fan of Kim Kardashian. I love Kim Kardashian. I know people hate me for that, but I actually really like her. And huge fans of Kanye, genius, very sympathetic to his mental health challenges, very sympathetic from a wife of somebody with bipolar for Kim when things got crazy and she couldn't do anything about it. But over time now, I just have got more and more unnerved by what's going on there in plain sight. So we moved from the Sunday service and people just happy clapping and singing and having a great time on this mountain to the school. And the school, all the parents have to sign an NDA and this school...
A non-disclosure agreement.
This school seemed very odd in a lot of ways. Stuff was being leaked out about the school. Kim Kardashian actually refused to let her children go to the school. There was a big hurrah about that. Anyway, this last Sunday, the photographs, I said to Mark this morning, I'm sorry, but this is like going on another level now. Everyone was dressed in these white robes that could only be likened to The Handmaid's Tale. Don't you think, Mark?
Totally, yeah, 100%.
And then, if you parallel that with a lot of the things that Kanye has been saying to Kim over the last few years, like calling her all kinds of just horrible stuff, sexual stuff, she needs to behave more like a wife and a mother, all this sort of stuff. And it's all out there for you to read. And then serving slabs of raw meat, well, slightly seared, I would say. And seared, but raw in the middle, just on morgue tables. What are they called? Morgue tables?
Yeah, morgue slabs.
Yeah, slabs. Serving raw meat and people eating it with their bare hands and eating the ice cream. Now...
And then is that people eating sushi off naked women at parties, right?
Thing is, we could just go, oh yeah, that's a bit crazy. But this is cult. This, for me, in my opinion, the cult leaders will ask people to do more and more and more bizarre things. And I think when you add such incredible celebrity, because cult leaders are always, they follow a pattern, and it's like his is just like, oh my God, you can tick every box. So the night before on Saturday, he'd had his birthday party where he had naked women lying on tables covered in sushi for people to take their sushi. I mean, how misogynistic is that? With his 9-year-old daughter there.
That's the weirdest bit. How many kids? I mean...
And people were saying, oh, what? And then tomorrow you'll be preaching about Jesus again on the Sunday service.
What's really odd about it is how in this modern day, I mean, it shows you how removed from everything he is, and again, how much of this is down to his bipolar, mental health issues, or the messianic aspect that is part of his ego. What is it? What makes him feel... What would make you feel like ordering a woman with sushi on a bed of woman... And not stop and think to yourself, on any level, that might not be very good.
But what frightens me is the next day, he's got women wrapped up with the white robes on, looking like The Handmaid's Tale. Now, to be fair, Mark...
Lee Dorrance says that happened in Sex and the City. Women with sushi served on them.
I know it happened. It used to happen a lot. It's disgosting. Yeah. It's absolutely horrible.
It's never happened
here. But in lots of films and stuff. But we've grown up a bit since then. But that was what really frightens me, those two extremes.
It's a slow encroachment, isn't it?
But also, bipolar 1 can result in very, inflated ego, messiah-like complex. Yeah. So I feel so much for the people that are close to him and love him. He has said that he won't take medication because he doesn't like the way it makes him feel, and God knows we've been through that with you, haven't we, over the last couple of years, while you've got your right balance of medication. I mean, you have bipolar 2, which is different, but
Lee Dorrance, you're absolutely right. I mean, again, I've always said this about mental health. You can have as much tolerance and acceptance and understanding and care and compassion and empathy for someone who's struggling with their mental health until it starts having a potentially negative impact on everyone around. When you start spouting anti-Semitic hate speak, all this kind of stuff, then there comes a point where you have to actually put the mental health crisis to the side, deal with the problem at hand. It's like trying to say, if someone's running around the streets and this happens and they're having a psychotic schizophrenic episode, they are unaware of what they're doing, people's lives are at risk. I've seen it happen in London. You're not, that isn't the moment you stop and go, oh, well, we really need to think about this. No, you need to deal with the situation, make safe, then worry about the mental health. And I think what's really troubling about this, potentially, as you're saying, this is a very sort of, it's not passive aggressive because that's not how it's being done. But this is another expression of really dangerous behavior that isn't necessarily overtly violent, but is incredibly, by osmosis, corrosive and damaging and alluring. And unfortunately, that's where his celebrity status really... there's the Jonestown, there's that story of the Jonestown massacre years ago in the 70s. I think Leonardo DiCaprio was playing Jones, whoever the guy was. But, 900 people ended up killing themselves by poisoning themselves for a cult.
We see, what we are seeing, and we don't know what we are not seeing, what we are seeing is asking people, it's to have to dress up like that, right? To eat the meat, which I'm sure is all very fun and very crazy, eating the raw meat. But it's the breaking down of what people would normally do. That's how a cult works.
But it's not illegal to be a Satanist. And the reason I'm not saying he is.
Where does that come from?
Well, no, because my point is I think most people would go, oh, Satanism, that's a bit dark and twisted and it's got to be awful. Why
would they say Satan?
Let me finish.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm explaining. If you look at the photographs of what he's doing, and he's doing a lot of stuff that looks really odd, eating meat off slabs, and he's actually doing nothing illegal. I'm just trying to posit the other side of the equation is you're allowed to preach in whatever way you want.
But that is the point of cult. I mean, I've been listening to this, a very British cult. Oh my God, listen to it on Radio 4 podcasts. Every town and city in this country has a cult. And they will be able to run for years and years and years, never doing anything illegal. Everybody's choosing to do it. And there's always a charismatic leader. That leader is nearly always of a very high IQ. And the thing is with Kanye, it's if this could be symptomatic of his mental health condition, but that shouldn't stop the questions around what is going on. And I fear that it does, because there is glamour involved in it. Absolutely. And we've been caught out like this before, haven't we? Many times across the world,
it feels like
by charismatic people getting away with shit that they just shouldn't.
It does feel sort of untouchable. Thank you, Patrick Glanville. Jim Jones is the name of the Jonestown massacre.
It's always he's in a circle. So there's this we want to get in this club feeling, But do you know what, guys? If you've got kids, it's really worth having a little conversation with them about cults, because we tend to think of it as something happening over in America and but it's just going to happen at universities. It's rife, so it's just good to just have a little conversation with them.
Rife at universities
across the country. That's what they were saying on this.
Cults are rife.
Well. The only
cult I belonged to was the rowing club.
No, that across the country, sorry, it's right. And a lot of them will target universities.
Right.
You're right to pull me up on that.
No, it's okay. All right, well, the vast majority of you think it all sounds a bit cultish to you. So it sounds a bit cultish to me too. It looks a bit cultish too. Someone asking who are the women who are having the sushi served off them. Look, this will be an events manager. There'll probably be models or performers.
But I think what it is, what screams to me is this, and then the other, the totally covered up women. It's just, and you know what? Just a moment for Kanye. I still feel so sad for Kanye.
But as A-Frog says, we just keep excusing bad behaviour with mental health all the time?
I think people need to look into what's going on at the Sunday service. 2
birthdays to do, Abby and Claire, but before that, we do have in the title Holidaying Alone. Didn't get there, I'm afraid. And we also had Sex Education Outrage. Good story that Nadia found about a woman who was told she wasn't allowed to see what the terms of some sex education sort of material was being given or taught to her children at school. Bizarre. A bizarre story, so maybe we'll pick up on that tomorrow. So happy birthdays. We've got Abby, whose birthday it is.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Abby. Happy birthday to you.
And we have Claire Haywood being very patient there. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you, Claire. Happy birthday to you, Claire. Happy birthday, dear Claire. Happy birthday to you.
Now, Abby and Claire, I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. And a couple of details. The Curly Cooks this coming weekend, we're doing something slightly different.
Yeah.
It's going to be at a different time. It's going to be an evening. It's going to be an evening show, isn't it? Which is very exciting. So it's going to be a bit more sort of...
So we'll be having tequila. So come and join the party.
So it's going to be more alcohol consumed and less clothes worn, which I'm very excited about.
But Mark, because it's Father's Day on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
We thought we'd do some Mark's favourite food, which is Mexican.
Interestingly, it's sushi on a bed of women. So,
So it's Mexican. So we're going to be doing Mexican food, our twist on it, obviously. We're going to be doing tequilas. And so join us Saturday, 7 o'clock.
For any of you who've sent a couple of things, because I know this is just some housekeeping now, so bear with me. Just a couple of people who've sent a few things via the PO box. I'm going to be checking in person with our local sorting office to make sure that parcels have arrived or haven't arrived. In the interim, because we're getting a few issues with this, until we've cleared this up, we've removed it from the description box so that things don't get sent and then don't get picked up. Obviously, we've got a very good relationship with Tim, our postman, so I'm going to go and have a chat, go and check and see if things are there. So bear with us. Once I've done that, we will feed back to you and Michelle will contact you.
But stop spending money and sending us things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stop it.
Absolutely. And the other thing I wanted to say was this. Oh, yeah. And also, we are recording an Agony Aunt and Uncle podcast this week. A call out for questions or dilemmas or issues is going to be popped up on Nadia's Instagram.
But also, isn't there somewhere here that they can put in?
The link is below. I believe it's the same link. Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you're watching now. So yeah, but I would go, yeah, okay. So that's going to be happening. So if you've got any thoughts.
Any problem at all, think of us as an aunt and uncle that you go round, have a cup of tea with and talk through a problem. So just, And, if you've put it in and yours hasn't been seen yet, you can always just nudge us again. And what's the other thing? If you want to join the members area, guys, there was lots of people asking me yesterday.
Stacey has just gifted 10
Oh,
memberships.
Stacey.
Again, Stace.
So sweet.
And stop calling you Stace.
So in our members area, it's 50p a week. And there we do the No Name Sunday show, which is absolutely broadcast quality show. It's fantastic. It's a much slower pace than the Curly Cooks. It's just me cooking, do dishes that take a longer time. Mark and Maddie each week. Oh my God, the howls of laughter between the two of them, because Maddie shows him all the funniest things on social media. And we do a book review.
You and Dina go shopping?
Me and Dina go shopping, except this week we've got a little surprise.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Shall we tell them what we do?
No.
No, okay.
So
if you want to join the members area, just, again, there's a link underneath.
And there is also over there, I mentioned this on the community tab, Members' Lives Happen. It's been quite difficult to get everyone coordinated on this end due to GCSEs and things like that. But we are due to do one. And when we do them, we're going to notify you a good half a day in advance so that you can prepare to come. Because
you want to win your cards.
At those you can win your cards, but also there are little photo quizzes. A couple more are going to land this week. They're going to go up on the community tab. So do use the community tab. When you go to the homepage of the channel, you go along those tabs at the top, there's the community tab. And for family guests and members, you will get your messages and photos and things like that there. So just to clarify all of that. Oh, so, and a couple of other things landed. Tonight is A Green-Fingered Hell. As I say, Agony Aunt will be landing this week. And the second part of Cupboard Gate. I mean, you guys have...
Oh, my God.
Dina gets involved.
Ever buy a cupboard from, where was it?
I can't fucking remember.
Oh, my God, Wayfair.
Oh, there you go.
Don't buy a cupboard from Wayfair. That's all I can say. It was an absolute joke.
But anyway, we'll see where we get.
I've brought in some new screwdrivers, though.
Ooh, you dirty girl.
Please, can we do the bedside tables, Mark?
Yeah.
2 years now.
Yeah, that'll take at least a week. Guys, have a lovely day. Stay cool.
Subscribe and hit the notification bell.